Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for joining us today. My name is Rashmita, and I am the event planner for Microsoft Reactor India. This session will run over the next 60 minutes, including Q&A. But before we begin, please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat section will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. So please feel free to drop all your questions in the chat section. I would now like to welcome Swamy, our speaker for today's session. He is an aspirant software architect and currently works at Applied Information Sciences. He loves to learn about new technologies, but for now, I will hand over to Swamy to begin the session. Let me bring him into the stream. Hey, hi Swamy.
Hey Rashmita, good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening. I'm doing good. How are you doing this evening?
Doing great and pretty much excited to have another session on AI related stuff. So eagerly waiting
Absolutely.
for clock to click 5.
Absolutely. So we'll not wait any other, we'll not spend the time. So I'm just putting up your slide up there.
Yes,
And yeah,
please.
there you go.
Thank you so much. Hey guys, good evening. Thanks so much for joining. This is my GitHub repo, Vishy Pylov, and today's link will be here in this under speaker series Microsoft Reactor. Today's date I tagged it, so I can put it here in the chat, which will you guys can grab it, or I'll give the links to Rashmita. She will forward it a bit later. So here's this meetup link I've given, and the technology stack today we'll be looking at .NET 8. Some of the pretty cool features. I'm unable to control my happiness seeing those kind of features which Microsoft have released. So we'll discuss few of those things. A little bit off track will go. I felt those are very very important topics. Very minor thing, but very important. Pretty critical updates and performance updates. Let's discuss that while we are going in this journey, and then we'll quickly see the rest of the topics, how to create your own chatbot, but not exactly we are matching to the chat GPT, but this will not hold any the previous context or anything. It's like one request, one response, done and dusted. So we're not doing anything else, but at least the concept we are doing it. And one motivation is why do we need to write these kind of chat GPTs? Imagine a scenario: you're working in a team and you want to do some experimentation. Maybe you're in the marketing department, or you're a teacher, or you're a programmer, or a QA. So this completion models, it's supporting entire spectrum. All people will go and get response from them. So imagine a scenario: in your team there are 10 people, and one of them is having the access to this Azure OpenAI. So what we can do is we'll create a small app, something like this, host it internally, give access, hook it up to the Azure AD, give access to the entire team. So we don't need to play around this access key giving all around the world, and it might get leaked. So this is one of the motivation why we need to do our own chat GPT, if at all we need to. In this is a real time scenario. It makes sense. Like everyone can't log into the Azure portal, but you can create your own and give it to some team. They work, and if they give some enhancement, then we always come back and update this one. Okay, so what are we going to do today? We'll discuss about the intelligence, few terms we need to do, discuss on that, and we'll discuss about ELIZA and OpenAI Transformer GPT tokens. We'll see these two and quickly go through the chat GPT. I think we have discussed this in the previous session, these two, but again I'll spend a minute or two on that, ensuring that majorly we'll be focusing on uh, 8, 9, and 10. I'm sure that I discussed about these things, but anyway, we put it on the board. Let's discuss that. And the source code is here. I'll give it to Rashmita. She'll post it after the call. It's here in this branch. So please fasten your seatbelt. Let's hit the road. So for bulleted point one till bulleted point five, the documentation in is in one location. So uh, a quick, yeah, I remember that we discussed in the on November 17th. In the previous session, I remember we discussed all these things. But, anyways, for the new people who are joining, it will benefit them. Let's quickly go over this one diagram over here to understand and the terms also. This article also I really liked it. If you see that artificial intelligence, machine learning, neural networks, deep learning, generative AI, and large language models. So everything whatever we discussed, it's here. Like what is artificial intelligence, the branch of science which behave like a human, and the machine learning. We saw that machine learning also, how that machine learning is being done, with whether this artificial intelligence is strong or general or narrow or weak. We discussed in the previous session. Also the machine learning, where we saw that we do data collection, preparation, model selection, train model, evaluate model, parameter tuning, and then prediction. Once we know that the model is predicting the correct values, then we will deploy that to the inference cluster, and we'll use that inference cluster for our application integration. And apart from this, I mean, except prediction, I mean, we do all the steps. Instead of prediction, if we are generating new content, that itself is generative AI. Like deep learning is subset of that, which has got the vision as well as the natural language processing, okay, speech recognition, and all these kind of things. Like if you see the computer vision, if you take this computer vision itself and try to do a facial recognition, it has got the parameters. It might locate the face, but if you have a specialization in that face API, face services in Azure service, then what it does is it also recognizes the lenses, whether the face has got some lens, whether it is any kind of lens, or it is goggles, or whether it is a swim lens, and other parameters also it will check. Okay, so natural language processing, we have seen that it's human-like interaction. It does that. Okay, and tokenization, parts of speech, tagging, a lot of things are there. We'll see that. And we see that generative AI is, we are generating the new content, maybe text, music, or images, and autoencoders and generative adversarial networks. These are two pieces of information, and all these text from bulleted point 2 till bulleted point, I mean the entire section of bulleted point 2, I created using the ChatGPT. It's not my intelligence. The intelligence goes to ChatGPT. Okay. And that being said, let's see ELIZA for a minute. So this is the first breakthrough in artificial intelligence, ELIZA. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. I don't know. But Joseph, sir, he's a great programmer. He created this natural language processing computer program back in 1960s or early 60s, but it came into light from 64 to 67. And this is the first breakthrough. And I was pretty much lucky that I got hold of this ELIZA program, but in Golang. It's a very small multi-dimensional array and a set of strings, and it does almost equivalent. I played it for 5 minutes with that program. I really liked it. So this is the first breakthrough in artificial intelligence as far as I was reading the documentation. So OpenAI or Azure OpenAI. So when the OpenAI was doing the open source work. A lot of people, they joined the hands and did the work. Now they need to support a lot of projects, and now it's a paid product. And Microsoft is one of the biggest player in contribution and funding perspective, and it's exclusively giving access to OpenAI. And Transformer is one of the model which is being used. Okay, so Transformer is the model, and if you see that GPT, generative pre-trained transformer. Okay, generative is something which generating the content, and pre-trained is it's trained on tons and tons of content with billions of parameters, and transformer is the model which is used in that entire architecture. Okay, so now let's see the tokens for a minute before we go further. We see that this one line should give you an enough knowledge on that one. So at a uh, thumb rule kind of thing, if you see approximately 4 characters of text which is in English, can be one token. Like if it is 75 words, it's like 100 tokens. So each token will be costing us something. So overlay corner. Okay, I will switch off my video. Thanks, Harry. I will stop the cam. Okay, Harry, I removed myself, so now you should see better. Okay, cool. The entire screen is this one. So if you see that 75 words is approximately 100 tokens, and apart from that, what is that we will be discussing is, let me give me a minute. Okay, and also we have seen the couple of things we have seen that top. We'll see couple of these things real quick. Spend 2-3 minutes time and see the Azure AI Studio. And one thing, if you see that, what is the tallest building in Hyderabad? If I hit this, it's giving Gachibowli Towers. If you see this, Hyderabad is there in India as well as in Pakistan. But I don't know how it figured it out that I'm asking Hyderabad in India. So it is giving the Gachibowli Tower, which is in the city where I live. So it's picking up that. And some things we'll see if I do give happy birthday, and the output is it's giving something, because one thing is the temperature. If you see that temperature is 1, so it uses a lot of the creativity in generating the output. If we minimize the or lower the temperature, then it will be more focused, or it will give the same output. So we can see these two inputs, two queries I'm asking at a time. I'm asking what is the tallest building in the world and what is the tallest building in Hyderabad. So it is giving us the tallest building in the world is Burj Khalifa, and Hyderabad. It's giving different signature towers, and sometimes it gives Gachibowli building because the temperature is 1. So it has got pretty much um, uh, creativity. It uses a lot of creativity, controls the randomness. Okay, lowering the temperature means like it's more focused, or it gives the same repetitive answer. Okay, now here we have been playing around 2-3 prompts which we have given, and we saw the output here. And here it says that it is 91 tokens. We can validate that. We can copy paste that here, and we should see the same. It's giving 83 tokens, maybe plus or minus here and there. I don't know what is that it is calculating. Little bit different from that, but plus or minus it is around 4 characters. But we are not able to understand here to what is the tokens we are being charged for our query and what is the tokens we are being charged for the answer. So for that, I have created a small program here, which I called it as under the hoods E2. Here is under the hoods like code dot. I'll show you. It's a very simple program. It's not doing any big thing. Only 5 to 6 lines of code. We just import the Azure OpenAI, and we stuff in these values, and we'll give this query, and it's executing. Now here what happens is I need to block this, and here I'll block this and unblock this one. So let me kill this so we'll get an extra space. Here we asked a query. I'm saying that give me 5 tweets for my dosa, which is pancake center, which I'm opening. Just I'm asking it to give the 5 tweets in this one. So if I come in and execute under the hoods, it shows that what is that which is happening here. So let's wait for the output. It has got uh, very much details which we can go under the hoods to see what is that it is giving. If you see that, it's giving the output which is starting over here, and each of the choices element has got different objects inside that, and you see that different objects are there inside that, and each of the output, it is also categorizing whether it's a hate speech or self harm or sexual content or violence content, whatever it is. It is giving the categorization of which category it is, and the text we are getting this. One thing, if you observe that, it has generated tweets which I really love. This tweets, it has given 5 of those tweets, and the finish region is length. That means we didn't give it enough tokens, and we restricted. That's the reason it has stopped without generating the full thing whatever we asked. And now he gives a clear cut definition like, okay, it is going to charge us total tokens for 334 tokens. Out of this, 34 tokens for the prompt, and completion tokens is 300 tokens. Okay, see this, it didn't generate full, it stopped it here. Now if we go back to the under the hoods program, and max tokens, I'll bump it up to 450. Please ensure that whenever you're bumping it, there might be a dent on your pocket. Please, when you're doing all these things, ensure that you're not having a heavy hit on your pocket. So this is just an experimentation. I'm bumping it up, but be very mindful that each token is getting charged. Now you see that we can focus. The completion tokens is 429, and prompt tokens is 34. The total is 463 tokens. Let's go and see that piece where it was mentioning the stop reason. See this finish reason is stop. So that means it says that, hey, I have done my duty. So whatever you asked, I'm doing it. So if you see the categorization, for us, what is important is the finish reason is stop. So it has given 5 different tweets, and we can see all those tweets over here. So first we need to understand what is happening under the hoods. Now, staying in the same playground, what we can do is we can do something like this also. Well, I'm asking, please tell me 2 jokes on a software engineer, and I'm saying that give me 2 sets of that. If n is 1, what happens is it gives me 2 jokes on software engineer. That is 1 set. See this, it is giving me 1 set. You can also see that in the choices array has got a single object. Now if I go and bump it up to 2 sets, I'm asking give me 2 sets of those. That means totally it should generate 4 jokes. So let's see that. Let's wait on it. it should give us the control. Okay, so you're seeing that in the choices array, you're seeing this is the first object where it has given two jokes, and there is a second object, it is giving another set of two jokes. But what is happening is I have to traverse in this scenario. So in this scenario, I need to go to choices of one and choices of two. Let me rerun the program now. So these kind of under the hood programs will give us enough insights into this, where we understand in and out what is that we are giving it, what is that it is giving us, how to traverse it, all these things. Like you can, this is all coming from the prompt engineering perspective. So you can control the behavior by giving the prompt, or you can control the behavior by the parameters. And if you're controlling with this, you need to ensure that whether the choices are fixed or whether the choices are dynamic. I would suggest that let's understand, or let's assume that the choices are dynamic and we need to program for that one, so that we don't need to go and change the code every now and then as I was doing it. Okay, this program we have seen in the last section. And here we need to see a couple of important points is the JIT compilation. I think we have, many of us would have seen a lot of these things. I would quickly go and spend real 3 minutes on this one to show you one important thing here. IL disassembler, and again I'm going to IL disassembler. So I will load two libraries into this ILDSSM. So one is the C# library and one is the VB.NET library. So if you see from this picture, we have the source code, and that source code, let me go in here, and inside the C#, in here, I open this in VS Code. So it's a very small program, and how the JIT compilation is pretty fast and efficient. We will see that in a minute. You see that we have the C# library. It just add and multiply numbers. It's int. And let me go to this VB.NET library. And we are having the same methods. One add instance methods. One is add numbers, two integers, and multiply numbers. So these are the two things. So the same thing which we are seeing in, here it is a VB.NET library, here it is a C# library. So when we go and expand that, and what we see is, everything is similar. There's nothing difference. But if you come and see the program, inside the program, you see that C# is calling it as int, whereas VB.NET is calling it as integer. But both are getting compiled into intermediate language. So that's what intermediate language everybody will understand. I'm expanding that here. If you see the VB.NET library's intermediate code versus the C# library's intermediate code, there is no difference in that. So it's like A speaks Telugu, B speaks Hindi, but A doesn't know Hindi, B doesn't know Telugu. How do they communicate? Imagine a scenario when A speaks Telugu, it gets converted into English. When B speaks Hindi, it gets converted into English. Now, both understand English, they'll be able to communicate with each other. Something similar to that. Whether we use int or whether we use integer in VB.NET, but both are getting compiled into a common language. That is this intermediate language. And we see this instructions over here. Okay, we see this intermediate language over here. Okay, so now what happens is we see that I got disturbed with the call. So we are seeing it now. The next step, what happens is, if you come back to this picture, so we have the source code, and Roslyn compiler is compiling it to intermediate language. Now comes the JIT compiler, which is part of the runtime. So let me open that, and we'll see that the key thing is, no matter how many methods methods you have it, no matter how many methods you have it in a library, when you're consuming it, the JIT compilation will not compile this method until unless you invoke it. So that means if we come into this program, here in line number 23, before that there's something, no, here the vb.net library is the one first we are consuming it. We are consuming both libraries, vb.net as well as c sharp library. But just in line 23 there is a read line, so it will stop here just before invoking. Once it stops here, we'll go and probe into that, asking that whether the JIT compilation has happened on this one, and then we will go ahead and we will see whether the JIT compilation happened or not. Okay, just give me a minute. Let me quickly open the commands, and I don't need this because we have already seen what is intermediate language. Let's do this JIT compilation, see that how this JIT compilation happens. It is executing the program. I'm saying that go, and it's running the program, the same C# program which I showed it, 5 to 10 lines, very small program. This is the program which is getting executed, and I think it's stopping at this. I say go, and see this, all this debugger and this extension which was created by the same team who does work on the CLR, if you see that .NET. So I'm giving the name here. Now see this started VB.NET library. So we are ready to see the magic. So at this point of time, the control is here, line number 23. Okay. So if it is, the control is there, what we are trying to do is, first we will see the execution engine version. I'll come back to this and put a break, and I'll ask the execution engine version is 8, and let me ask, did you compile add numbers method? It says that it's not a JIT compiled. So again, I'm coming and asking, did you compile multiply numbers? It says that no, I didn't compile this. So both the methods were not compiled. So I am stopping there. Now I click, okay, I need to click go over here so that it continues, and it completed this. So if you come back here and see this, it has given the output. Now we are at line 27. Okay, so again I'll move further, and here I'm at the end of this program. Let me stop there and come back and put a break here. And now if I go back and ask, now the program is at the end. See here, the program is at the end where we are saying that press any key to continue. That means the entire thing is done. I'm asking it, did you compile the multiply numbers? It didn't spend any time to compile that. But if I ask that, did you compile add numbers? Yes, it compiled. It was in 24 or 25, line number 25, where we were consuming this. So if you go and see this, give this method description, you're seeing the machine instructions. Okay, so don't expect to see zeros and ones here. It's a machine instructions. That internal representation is zeros and ones, but in all the pictures they represent zeros and ones. So this is very important thing to understand, the efficient JIT compilation. So now that we know how the things are happening, so I'll close this and I'll close the under the hoods so that I have less number of windows to deal with. So I'll close this debugger. Then we'll go to some other pretty much new features of this one. Let's see this dependency injection and few other things, short circuiting. So one thing is namespace. We don't have two more mustaches. So we can have the file scope namespace or the block scope namespace. Okay, I feel file scope namespace is pretty much better because I don't have to deal with extra two mustaches. And the dependency injection, we'll see that. This is part, whatever we are discussing is part of the dependency injection, and I'm covering two things in the same point. That means if I come in here just before run, I execute this I execute this program. This itself is the ChatGPT one, whatever we are doing it. So once the debugger hits this point, what we can do is we can go to this services, the service container. We can do a quick watch, or we can use the autos. Let's do the quick watch into this. Now, if you do the quick watch, it clearly says that the builder services has got 128 dependencies. So if you see that, our dependency will be at the last, where we are saying the repository Azure OpenAI repository. This is the one which we are hooking up to this pipeline. Okay, that's one thing. And second thing is we can see all this information here from app also. From the debugging perspective, we can see that there are sections. This is something new which I couldn't see in .NET 6 and 7, giving those numbers like endpoints. It's giving pretty much like, hey, how many endpoints do you have? I can get all these endpoints. Okay, we don't need to go through the post-when collection or anything. Right here in front of our eyes, it's giving those endpoints and all these things. So from the debugging perspective and from the service injection perspective, we are loading all these things here. Like if you deposit some money into your bank, you can go and swipe your ATM card somewhere else. If you don't, you will not be able to get it. So let's see some negative scenario here. If I go and comment this line, and let's go and hit this again. So when I go and try that method where it goes and communicates with Azure Open AI, now it fails because I didn't deposit any money in my bank account and go and swipe the ATM card inside an ATM. So it will definitely uh, throws an exception or gives me a transaction decline thing. So we'll see that real quick before we go into that. So I'm coming in here and I say try it out, and I want to say hi, and I executed this method. It clearly says that it's not able to find this type because we didn't register. You didn't deposit money, but you go and swipe your ATM card, it doesn't work. So you need to deposit the money. Similarly, we have to add the services into the service container, then only it will work. So let's go and see that piece. So that's the first point. I'm mixing the some of the key features and some of the latest development in .NET 8, which are pretty much great. I'm unable to stop loving those features. So if I give the same output hi and execute it here, so you can see that it gave the response as hello. So we are exposing the static one. So you can see, we can come in here and say that what is an apple, and I execute that. This is, we are doing it through the Swagger. I'll show you another way, which is pretty much addition in .NET 7 and 8. I saw that in 7 template, 8 templates, I assume. I don't remember seeing it 7, but I saw that one. So it is, it's giving us this answer. So let me copy the same prompt here, and let's go to this ChatGPT. I mean, duplicate ChatGPT. Okay, so I gave it. So the current answer it gives it. Now let's see that what is generative AI, and I click on that. And if you see that, it's all being done through the Fetch API. I am sad. Please make me happy. So see this, it's simply doing the fetch call. There's no frameworks. It's entirely developed in .NET 8, pure HTML, pure CSS, pure JavaScript. Little bit of Google font, we'll see that. See this, the response. I'm sorry to hear that you're feeling down. Let's try something new. And it's trying to make me cheer up or make me happy. Okay, so that's from a couple of points which we are covering, which is very important. We covered point 1, point 2, point 3. We will come back, and we have covered point 5 and point 7. So we need to cover point 4 and 6 and 8. So let's see what is this point 4. So if you come back to this one and go here and see usings, you can implicitly add usings in every file, like this, using so and so, using so and so. Something what you can do is, if you have console.write line, some people like me, I don't like every time writing the console.read line or console.write line or foreground color. If you see that, I don't want to write console dot at all the places. So what we can do is, we can go and write those here as part of our program at the top, saying that using static, or we can define all those things within the library itself. Okay, so I'll show that here. I think this is not the directory, we'll see it here itself. So if we come back to this here, one thing is we are saying that make this as static, and this is where aliasing. So we can do it each individual files or put it in the global usings on our own. So why should we put it here? There's one good reason for doing this one is, if it is here in the global JSONs, it will become our responsibility to modify this and all those things. Now, if you put it here, what happens is, now this becomes part of the instructions. That means whatever the auto-generated files, if you go into debug and .NET 8, you see that there will be a file with the project name dot global usings g.cs, like the project name global usings g for generated cs. You see this is auto generated. Now what is the instructions which we have given in the cs proj here? Now that is becoming part of the auto generated file. So now it becomes part of this auto generated file. Now that's one good facility. And suggested way, if you want to do something like remove the default usings which it is coming out of the box, or you want to override something, the best suggested way is to put it in your cs proj, so that it's getting taken care by this framework itself. Okay, that's this one. And short circuiting. So what is this short circuiting is, there's one good picture I want to show you is http request pipeline in ASP.NET Core. Let's go to this one. If you see, there are two things here. One is the routing. So it has to pass through all this middlewares. Each of the middleware will consume some seconds or some time. And this is the endpoint. So two different ways. See, endpoint middleware will be put at the last, and the routing middleware, it will be here. And apart from the routing, there will be other middlewares it has to pass through. So there is something known as a short circuit. This has been introduced in .NET 8. Okay, while what happens is, if we go through the pipeline and the entire pipeline, it will take some milliseconds or nanoseconds, whatever, sometime it takes a little bit more. You can short circuit. When can we short circuit is, one of the reason is when we are doing the health check kind of thing. So suppose if you see that the welcome endpoints are there, I didn't do any short circuit for this one. But if it is a liveliness check or health check kind of endpoint, I don't need to go through the entire pipeline here. I just want to tell that whether the application or whether this particular minimal API is up and running or not. So in this case, I can do a short circuiting. Let's see that how the short circuiting exclusively tells that whether it has passed through the entire middleware or it got short circuited. We can see it here in the logs also. Okay, so right now I come to this API route and I click on try it out and click on execute. So when I click on execute, you can see that it executed the middleware, endpoint middleware, and it is done and dusted. So what we can do is, I can commit to this liveliness and click on try and click on execute. And here, if you come that, the liveliness is being executed without running additional middlewares. So we can put the debuggers and find out, but we can do with that one also. Here I gave the code. You can go into the code and just enable that the debugger. If I come into this request response pipeline, I have added an additional this one. Just uncomment this. Okay, if you uncomment, then you will see the difference. So now we have uncommented that. Now I'll come back to this one. So when I hit the liveliness, so it didn't stop there. You're seeing it. It didn't stop in this middleware. But if I come to the other endpoint, the hello world endpoint, whether it is this or any of the endpoint, when I try it out and execute it, it should stop here. Did I short circuit it? No, I didn't. One second. Let me execute this. Did I forget to put a debugger? Oh, I think I need to restart that. Maybe I would have stopped the hard reload. That might be one reason it didn't stop here. Let's wait. Give it a minute. Let's hit that again. See that? It stopped it here and it stopped there. That means apart from the endpoint execution, it stopped on the extra middleware. But when we do the liveliness check, I click on try it out and I execute, I got the response. So that means only that particular portion of the endpoint is getting executed, nothing else. But if I come back and try that again, this or any of the methods, because I just short circuited only the liveliness. So now this proves that short circuit will execute only the endpoint middleware, endpoint, and doesn't go through extra parts of the middleware. So I'm commenting it. Anyone wants, they can grab this and uncomment that. Okay. While we are here, we need to see another thing. Regularly, what we do is we'll write the API middleware or the controller, and I mean the minimal API or the controller one, and then we'll test it using the Postman or Swagger. Now in .NET 8 specifically, wherever I observed as in .NET 8, let me go through this one here, and let me open this in VS Code. So I picked up a documentation where they mentioned it. There is a built-in window here itself, which gives us the endpoint explorer. In other windows, if you go there, there will be an endpoint explorer, because right now we are using endpoint. Very well come back to the VS Code and create an I mean, you can create it there itself. It's an HTTP file where we can specify the endpoint and it gives response back on this right pane. Here itself, you're seeing that it took some seconds, but we are getting the response. That's the first call. Now here, what is an apple? So now it goes and hits the API.get completion. You're seeing that it took 3000 milliseconds. Now we are checking the liveliness. It took around 1000 milliseconds. Now this has come to 537 milliseconds. I think now it is in warm mode. God. So let's see that. Now it is 81 milliseconds. Now this is 125 milliseconds, and this is 70 milliseconds I'm seeing over here. And now let's see that how many milliseconds it's going to take it here. It is around 1000 milliseconds. So these are some of the features. I did a mix of the existing features and the new features, which is coming out of the box from the .NET 8. At least short circuiting, debugging improvements, and the HTTP files. These three are pretty new. And this is there since age old, since 20 years, this is there. but I just recently learned that how to probe into that the machine instructions, how to see that when JIT compilation happens and how efficient the JIT compiler is. So that's it. Okay, so let's see this one important thing is that whenever you're using any of those secrets, one of the suggested way is we can use the secret file or create the environment variables. So you can use this set environment variable versus get environment variable if you're using PowerShell. And if you're the pure command line guy, you can use setx and getx. Okay, setx and getx in the we can create this environment variable through setx and getx, or you can use the export the bash shell or okay, just give me a minute, I'll have a glass of water. So that's one suggested way to handle this. Is that the one or which one? Yeah, this one. So that's one of the suggested way. Now let's see few things about the whatever we have developed here. So this is a minimal API which was developed in .NET 8, and this one we have seen it, and all we are using the latest NuGet packages. So there's nothing from the upgrade perspective. There is nothing. So till date, whatever is are the latest, we are using that. And the program itself, the program class itself is pretty lean, and we are using the static file serving. We put it in the dub root. We'll come back to that dub root. Now all the service container thing has been moved into one extension method, and the HTTP request response pipeline has been moved into another method. So those are here. So if you see that application services extension, we are adding the Swagger, as well as we are adding this repository. I just named it as a repository. It could be any service. I named it as a repository. So this is the service container perspective, and this is configuring HTTP pipeline, whether it is a developer exception page or the Swagger or Swagger UI related. We'll just expose it only in the development environment. We will not want this to go into test stage and integration. We don't want anyone to go and access those. So that's one of the suggested method. And we are serving the static files. This is the additional endpoint which you have written. And if you see that, whatever the controllers we have it, similarly we created the endpoints. So if you see this hello world endpoints, we use this endpoint route builder. We're getting map get with tags and with name. So these should be tags and names here, and the route, you can see this, the route is little different, and this one will be different. I'll show you the routes which is there in the common. I just created a partial class under constants, welcome routes. So this is route and API, and in health check it just liveliness, and in here we have got API completion, get API completion. So that's one thing. And from this API endpoint perspective, it's just an endpoint. We have from query and from services. So when you say from services means this is expecting that we did a dependency injection properly, and we have loaded all the services while configuring the service container. So two pieces. One, you will configure the services, configure the HTTP pipeline. So when you say from services means, so these things are coming in from the service container injection. So if you see that, just starting, we are not even hitting the first line of our program, when we execute this and go and check the service containers over here, let me see this. Before even we are hitting anything, we have 113 dependencies which are coming out of the box. Okay, so these are built-in or out-of-the-box dependencies. Now when it was 113 there, so when I come in here, now let's see, it is 127. Now when I move, it's 127. So everything which you added, everything should be configured over here. So that is what you can relate back here in the Open API endpoints. So when you're saying from services, means it is expected that this is loaded in the dependency injection service container, whether those services are out of the box or built-in or which are coming out of the box, or the application dependencies. In this case, if you see that here, these services which we are loading it, this is specifically I'm talking about this one, which is the application services. Now just wanted to show you one thing which I didn't create, but I gone through the documentation. And inside this, we can add the dependency injection using the named one, key scoped. This is the one. It's not a key scoped. This one, key scoped. So I really like this one. Previously, we used to do if debug, put something dependency, else put something in the dependencies. Now you don't need to do that. Like how we are adding in line number 13, add transient. So with one interface, we can have two concrete implementation. That's one of the fantastic thing which I liked it, which is coming in .NET 8. When .NET is out, but we can use this one. See this, adds a scope service to the type. So what we can do is we can add the service and we can give the key name. So now for the same interface, we can have two concrete implementation. And while retrieving also, you can retrieve the implementation which you want to do it. I mean, all the time when we are giving the example, we'll give the same example that we are doing a payment gateway integration. And in the gateway integration, we until it is staged, or you until it is staged, we'll use the stub, and from UAT and production, we'll use the real-time payment gateway integration. So those kind of things, it was very tough to do it. Now it has become very easy, because with one interface we can have two concrete implementation. One goes to the prod and one goes to the stub one. Okay. Another thing, let's see this pretty quick, is this HTML is a very small HTML, 42 lines or lesser. We are using Bootstrap 5, and that is from the CDN. And another thing is we are using the fonts, Google fonts, Montserrat and Poppins. These are the fonts, and we see it's just a fetch. It's coming around 30 lines or lesser, and it's just a fetch API that goes and calls the API get completion. That means here in this method, it goes and calls that, and few CSS just for coloring here and there. Now you can see if we execute this, as I was mentioning, the motivation is like you create this kind of portal, give it to a particular team, they use it, and budgeting also we can tag it to that same team. Okay, they consume this application and they would have made hundreds of calls or thousands of calls to this ChatGPT, and whatever the charge which is coming out of that particular resource group, we can tag it to this particular team. So you see it here. And as we are serving the static content, how do we navigate? We can navigate to this, and because within the static content, anything within the static content is here. So we can see and come in what is a generative AI. Ooh, it will correct it. See this. This is the correct one. but it see this, it corrected, even though we I gave the wrong the typo, but it corrected. So that's about the C sharp one. I think by the time we discussed this, we almost reached the end of the time. But I will quickly show you. I have a Flask version also within the same repo, cd Flask, and I have the .venv scripts activate. I've activated the environment, and let me execute the app. And again, the concept is same. This it's coming in here in 5000. Directly, we are coming in here. What is Python Flask? So let's ask the chatbot which we created in Python. We're asking what is Python Flask. So Python Flask is a micro web framework written in Python. So it's giving us. I mean, it is within the same repo where I was mentioning Learn Azure AI, which is part of the Tech Skills Academy. I just created this for my community service. You can see I'm just populating many things in this Azure OpenAI AML and some travel solution. This we are starting in December. We are starting this travel solution. December 14 is the next session where we will be doing two pieces from this travel solution. I would like to quickly go over that travel solution at least at a big picture. I want to show you that how this travel solution which we are going to develop. You can see there'll not be any connection from here. So these three pieces we'll be seeing it on December 14th. The Azure OpenAI and the Python Flask API, which interacts with the Chart API and gives us the response. .NET 8 Blazor app goes and talks to this. So these three pieces of integration, we'll see it on December 14th. And in Jan, we will see the complete travel solution end to end working. Instead of Postman, this will be React 18. So this is Python Flask, .NET 8 Blazor app, and .NET is minimal API with a SQL server, and React 18 talking to this. That's which is coming in December 14th. Only three pieces, guys, not the entire solution. One, two, three. Okay, and this Python Flask will interact with minimal API to inject or insert the content into SQL Server, but the Python Flask will not directly speak with SQL. Okay, so that's it from my side for this session. If anyone has got any queries, we can go over Q&A. Rashmita? Kalpesh, you are asking about the GitHub link. Anyway, just give me a minute. I'll share all the GitHub links again. Rashmita, back to you, Rashmita. While I'm sharing this, I think Kalpesh has asked.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Sorry, I just lost internet for a few seconds. So, yeah, it took some time for me to join. But yeah, if you want to share any links with the audience, Swami, you can just share in our chat, private chat, and I'll probably share in the with the larger audience.
oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Just give me
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
1 minute. I didn't realize that. This is really making sense. I posted those three links.
Mm-hmm.
You can post it. I think we Harry told about the text, and I removed myself from the stream. So thanks, Harry, for that. And I think we don't have any queries. Kalpesh, Badra, we gave the links. Cool.
Okay, so I think
So OpenAI service, see, there are two things, Arpit. OpenAI and Azure OpenAI. Now, OpenAI, you can create it, uh, and some of the models you need to explicitly request for, and that is for all, not only for OpenAI, Azure OpenAI services, but when it comes to the vision or the face recognition services, you need to request for that, because this is a double-edged sword. You can use it for good and you can use it for bad. So we don't know why we are using it. They don't know, isn't it? For some of those things or the models, we need to request it, but I think it's available publicly. Again,
thank you.
few things we need to go and get it from maybe ChatGPT 4 model, and it happens within next 2 3 hours. You can go and request it. Within 24 hours, you will get it. The OpenAI service. Back to your Rasmita.
Thank you, Swamy, for hosting an amazing session, and thank you all for joining us today. Please visit Microsoft Reactor website for more upcoming session. Feel free to use the Learn module links that I have already shared in the chat section, and also you can see it right now on the screen. This will give you access to additional resources to take your learning further. Thank you all once again, and enjoy the rest of your day.